Sorry.
That's my fault.
I call the audit committee meeting to order. Approval of minutes. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business.
Okay, Chairman, our first is we have a Division of Local Government Audit who's responsible for the contract audit with Crossland and the Metropolitan Government for the CAFR. So we thought it was appropriate to have David Sturban here to talk to us about what his role is in reviewing the CAFR and the role of the local government audit. Give you a little more background. So, David, you're up.
All right. Sorry, just where I'm sitting. All right, okay. I'm David Sturban, Contract Audit Review Manager with Division Local Government Audit with the Comptroller's Office. And Mark had wanted me to come in and just say what is our position with the whole audit process that you have contracted annually. And what the Comptroller is responsible for all 95 audits of the 95 counties of the state of Tennessee, and we under TCA 303, 3-3303 and 304, and then we also under section 4A of that section, it allows for contracting of the audit work that we are charged to do. Right now, with the 95 counties, we perform our staff of approximately 95 perform 90 of those audits. All right, there's 5 contracted audits, which would be the big 4 counties, which is Davidson, Shelby, Knox, and Hamilton are the big 4, and then we also have McMinn is also contracted. We will eventually probably only have the big 4 counties to be the only ones remaining to be contracted. We have recently taken over Washington County and to audit by our staff, and just for manpower purposes, we'll probably always rely on the CPA community for auditing the big 4 counties. Anyway, we have 2 different divisions. We had 2 divisions that were merged into local government audit back in 2012. We have municipal audit and a county audit, which I have been with county audit, now local government audit for all these years. So with municipals, we rely entirely on contracted CPAs for that audit work, and then we have a similar contract review manager as myself that oversees that staff that reviews contract audit work. With the county governments, which we have 5 contracted counties, we have probably another 295 entities that are contracted or county related, which are some of those would be Metro Airport, MTA, MDHA, and those are all contracted and monitored by and reviewed by our office. And what we basically do with the contracted work, we have a standard contract audit accounts, which we spell out all the responsibilities and scope for each one of the contracted CPAs. And we have developed a web portal called CARS, Contract and Report Systems, which we utilize for executing all our audit contracts. CPAs and the entities both have log-on accounts where they sit there, and we use this as a portal for keeping good contacts for various CPA firms, the contact for the entities. And I think Phil has a CARS account for Metro Davidson County, and seeing that the contract is presented and reported properly executed in that web portal. Which has been very efficient for our office. And also that portal also is where the various reports get uploaded and submitted, and we then they get subsequently placed on our website. So all the 95 counties and all the other contracted entities, cities, and whichever can be found right there on the Comptroller's website, easy for public access. All right. Let's see. with the contract review process, we with this web portal, we sit there, request audit contracts for the various entities annually. We monitor them to make sure, and then those are all submitted through this web portal. And then also the reports are subsequently received, and then we will, and after they are received, we have staff, which I'm one of the ones that will review the reports for technical accuracy and the various compliance with the comptroller's requirements, which we establish in our audit manuals. With this, once the reports are submitted, when we have reviewed them for technical accuracy and reporting requirements, we will end up sending review letters to the entities if there's any deficiencies or any things that need to be corrected in subsequent years, usually minor deficiencies or making them aware of various reporting requirements. Recently, we have included the audit committees in those letters. Audit committees have usually only the larger counties have audit committees, but there is an initiative to have smaller counties or smaller entities see the need for audit committees, and so if there is an audit committee, we include any of our review work associated with the reports that we submit. Now, there are auditor letters that we would send out to the CPA firms if there are things that we need to have corrected in subsequent years, or and there are occasions we have to have reports are rejected for various deficiencies, and we require them to be corrected or revised and resubmitted to our office. The Metro Davidson County has been receiving a certificate of achievement from the GFOA for several years. Usually, so they're meeting at that high level of reporting established by GASB and GFOA, which is the Government Financial Officers Association. But even at that level of certificate, there are common deficiencies you might find, and we point them out to the entities for future correction. And those are usually minor things that don't need to be corrected at that time, at the initial time, but just for future corrections. Another thing that we also require, if there are any audit findings with in the report, we require that corrective action plans be submitted also. That was a requirement of the federal government with the Single Audit Act. We've sit there, the comptroller has found that as a good initiative, so any kind of material findings or findings that are reported in the report, we sit there want to a corrective action plan to be identified, which would name the person who is responsible for the corrective action, what is intended action that would taken or planned, and what the anticipated completion date of that corrective action. This is an initiative, I said, it was normally started off by the federal government, but the comptroller has embraced that himself, and we include that in our current requirements for reporting. We also, you have an audit committee, but if any entities or county governments that do not have audit committees, and they have continually, we encourage them to have audit committees, but we require them to have audit committees if they have not complied with GASB reporting or are not reporting their financial statements in accordance with government accounting standards boards, or if they are they have reoccurring material findings for 3 consecutive years. We sit there and think the initiative of the audit committee to mandate corrective actions of their management, we feel it is important, and so we, for small entities that are not complying with those standards, we would mandate audit committees be formed. We provide audit manuals on our website, which we stipulates our various the standard requirements of audit, and then accounting and internal control frameworks that entity should follow, and the various other compliance guidelines that the comptroller makes. With the CPA community, we sort of monitor their quality, and that's probably what you're at. You would wonder how good are their firms at doing what they're doing. We review their work. We mandate that they have peer reviews, which is a requirement, and we review their peer reviews, which are done every 3 years. And then if there's any substandards in their peer review, we also have team evaluations to see what action we should take. If a firm has anything less than a pass on their peer review, we sit there and evaluate what's caused them to have that deficiency and see if they're taking corrective action with it. And then another thing with the counties that are contracted, the statute requires that our office be involved at least once every 4 years in their audits, and how we participate in that. We go out and review their work papers once it's every 5 years. Once every 4 years, we review the work papers and see that they have met the quality of expected standards, which was last.
Yeah, I was gonna say that occurred this year for us.
Yes,
for last year's audit, but
yes.
David was in our office a few months back.
We spent 2 or 3 days and reviewed the work papers, and we had no findings or recommendations from that review. And let's see. Also, as Mark has a hotline for various fraud issues, that's what the comptroller does, has a hotline, and before you get reports of any kind of suspicions of, or if even the officials have a responsibility, if they know of any malfeasance or non-compliance issues, they're supposed to report it to our office, and then we triage that to see how should we investigate it, whether it has merit. With Davidson County, we rely heavily on Mark or the CPAs to review it, but we also have an investigative staff, which also, if they so choose, will come in and review various issues. But if it's if they choose not to investigate, we'll either hand it to Mark or in his group, or we'll share it with the contracted CPA to sit there and evaluate the merit during their audit. Do y'all have any questions?
Any questions? Of the other counties, do any other counties have an internal audit function?
Yes, they do. And that is a recent initiative, and we've asked for to have the audit committee included in the audit report, at least enlisting them, so we can know who to communicate to, and that's a crucial part of any of our communications with any governmental entities, is who is the responsible person we need to talk to. And some of the smaller entities, a lot of times we end up the person that we might need to be talking with is the perpetrator that we might be investigating too. So we also would like to need to know the lineage of what we have with it.
Well, those counties that have an internal audit function, are any of them independent like Metro? Yes. And when you said internal audit, I was thinking audit committee. I'm sorry. I was answering it. Hamilton County has internal audit, and they. I don't think they're structured the same. Okay. And Shelby County does, and they answer directly to the mayor, so they're not structured independently as Davidson County is, and that is the way we recommend, and for them to be independent of and not to be directly answered to any of the political figures. Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you for coming.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Are we ready for the?
Annual CAFR unveiling.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Everybody have one of these? So this is the results of our 2018 fiscal year financial statement audit. Page 2 is the agenda, but I'm going to go through every page. Please stop me and ask questions. I'll move pretty fast, but just for the sake of time, but I'd be happy to slow down and talk about any areas in more depth. On page 3 is our engagement team members. You know, we did have a rotation this year, so we've moved a lot of people around to different responsibilities. I thought everything went great from my perspective. It did. Hope it did for Phil. On page 4 is responsibilities of both Crossland and management. 4 main categories that are our responsibilities: expressing opinions about whether the financial statements prepared by management under the oversight of this committee are fairly presented in all material respects in conformity with U.S. GAAP. 2, performing our audits in accordance with governmental auditing standards as well as the uniform guidance provisions. 3, maintaining independence in fact and appearance, and having an attitude of professional skepticism. And then the reporting requirement, reporting to this committee any findings or non-compliance or fraud that we may have noted. And then over here on the right side of the page is the responsibility of management: fairly presenting financial statements in accordance with GAAP, adopting proper accounting policies, which we do audit, establishing and maintaining effective internal controls, preventing, detecting fraud, and disclosing to this committee and us any significant deficiencies. Page 5 is independence. The ASCPA Code of Professional Conduct is who sets forth the guidance under Rule 101 of being independent. And in fact, in appearance, we are independent with Metro Nashville. On page 6, dealing with fraud risk, the ASCPA issued SAS 99 to specifically address risk of material misstatement in relationship to fraud. So the 4 main areas that we focus on, or really SAS 99 focuses on, is gathering information. That's brainstorming, it's talking to management, interviewing different personnel at all levels, investigating anything that looks unusual or unexpected, and then responding to those risks that we do find, designing specific procedures, incorporating elements of unpredictability, and testing any such items. We do test for management override for any significant estimates or inappropriate biases or any unusual transactions. And then finally, evaluating what audit evidence we do see and communicating it to the proper levels of management and this committee. On page 7, these are deliverables. So the comprehensive annual financial report has an unmodified opinion. That's the CAFR that we went over a couple weeks ago. General Hospital is on the verge of being issued final.
Just waiting on management's response to the material weakness or the significant deficiency, and they've promised us they'd have that to us by the end of the week. So,
okay, so
once we receive that, we'll issue that final.
And that will be an unmodified opinion.
So that should be Friday or Monday at the latest.
So you don't think the management response, there's no way that could change the...
I don't think so. I anticipate them to concur and set forth whatever things they're working on to improve the situation. So.
Okay, thanks.
2 things in process: internal school fund and then the single audit and its related reports. And then other deliverables, which is this report, a management letter, which is in process, and the data collection form. That will be filed with all the federal expenditures by CFDA number to the Federal Clearinghouse after we finish the single audit. On page 8 is our audit methodology and approach. So, we update and document our understanding of Metro's systems and related risk areas, nature and significant account balances, transaction cycles, and that is all happening in the planning and risk assessment section. That determines how much, after we do the control evaluation, how much we rely on control and how much we do substantive testing, and then the completion and the reporting. On page 9, we go into a little more depth on the audit planning and risk assessment. The control testing, we do a lot of control testing in this audit. Cash receipts, revenue, property tax billing. You can see the major areas: purchasing, disbursement, employer compensation. You can see the major areas that we focus on for controls. We do, however, do substantive testing as well. And on the right side of the page, we list some of those areas. Treasury investments, we're sending confirmations for those. We're looking at any material additions, deletions for capital assets, confirming debt. Obviously, the OPEB adjustment was a big one this year, as was pension, quite frankly. It's still relatively new, so it's a high risk and a big number. Grant receipts, disbursements, expenditures, compliance. And then obviously at the hospital, we look at patient accounts and third-party settlements. It's hard to sum up a 6,000, 7,000 or 8,000 hour audit on one page, but that's a good attempt. Page 10, the single audit. These are our major programs. It is in process. I think in the executive session, we have a little time to go over our status. Is that right, Mark? Yeah. Okay, so we'll go over that a little bit more but that is in process, and we're way ahead of where we have been in the past. So everything's looking good. On page 11, try to identify just significant activity or any unusual items and the impact that might have had. Grants is always a high-risk area and kind of unusual. That mainly goes to our single audit testing. Any new debt, we put the removal of the going concern emphasis in the matter paragraph for the hospital. Capital assets is always a large focal point, and then the restatement of the OPEB, roughly $2.2 billion this year. On page 12 and 13, these are adopted new GASBs. Really, the only one that was significant to the CAFR this year was 75, and that was the OPEB. On page 14, these are our required communications by the SASs, accounting estimates. We do look at the accounting estimates. We look to see that they're reasonable and they're in compliance with GAAP. We believe they are. There is unaudited information in the CAFR. We read all the information noted, and we noted no material inconsistencies with that included in the government's basic financial statements. And then there's no transaction which there is a lack of authoritative guidance or consensus. All significant transactions have been recognized in the proper period. No alternate accounting policies or practices noted. We did not have any difficulties dealing with management performing the audit. No disagreements with management. Management provided all appropriate representations. At the conclusion of the audit, they signed a management representation letter, basically repping to us that they've provided everything that we've asked for to properly be able to conduct our audit. And we are not aware of any communications by management with other independent auditors or accountants. That's okay to do. It's just that we want to be part of the conversation to make sure that all the facts are laid out properly. On page 15, we are required to report any unrecorded audit differences, and there were none this year. On pages 16 are upcoming accounting developments, the new GASBs that will be coming out and which year they are applicable to Metro. Really, the only one of minor significance would be the leases. There are a lot of, from the primary government, there are some building operating leases, but probably the biggest impact would be on component units. So this is the lease standard that's taking operating leases and putting them on the balance sheet as an asset and debt and liability. Basically book them like we've been booking capital leases for years.
Debt covenants, will it have an impact on those, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they will. I think banks are going to have to rewrite their bank covenants. I mean, for any industry. Yeah, I think that's going to be a huge impact on that standard.
So the liability becomes short-term and long-term?
On the balance sheet, there will be there'll be a current, if you have a classified balance sheet, you'll have a current.
Assets, the long-term, I mean.
Right.
Not to mention debt to equity, too.
Right. Yeah, that's the
Consider it's
biggest
just
covenant.
grossed up the balance sheet because it's not considered, that ratio didn't consider the assets. Yeah, it'll definitely impact covenants.
A lot of rewrite.
Question.
Sure.
Just because we've had in the past year, a couple of instances of fraud reported, how did that play out in here?
Well, I mean, there wasn't anything that we, from an audit perspective, there was no fraud that we considered material, but we will have to.
The instance where the employee was taking, was that over in general sessions?
There's several. There's several.
Traffic school, that's what I'm just saying, was that part of your, did you do extra testing around those internal controls?
I don't know, did we do?
What did I guess I'm wondering.
No, but I mean, okay.
Did it expand your scope?
Yeah, these instances are,
You consider them
significantly below our scope, from an audit standpoint. But we do look at controls around,
That's what I was thinking, just the control piece.
various things.
Yeah,
And we investigate these individual matters because we're required to report to the state
Right.
how we've, how we've considered those in the audit process. So yes, is the answer.
As he summed up, well,
That's why I'm asking.
We still have, but we're not actively searching for more instances like that.
I'm just saying for the ones that we knew about it that were reported.
I mean, our biggest resources for that, quite frankly, is his internal audit reports.
Any cash shortage or theft report that it was reported during the year.
Yeah.
Does not matter. Materiality gets reported in the schedule of cash shortages and
we have to respond to that.
And it's more of a government's document, isn't it? Somebody stole. It reported they stole a couple $100 from a clerk's office, and you know about it. They reported, whatever happened, and the balance, what's taking place with it was if there was a reimbursement or if it's still outstanding, whatever. This cash shortage form is ongoing until it has been liquidated or written off or something. And the comptroller's its materiality is not a matter with it. If it's known, it's reported in this cash shortage form.
If it's not resolved as of year end, then it carries forward to the next year, and it keeps carrying forward until its resolution. Whether if that's restitution, whatever it might be, you know what I mean. And then we are required to consider that and in our audit process and update its status along the way.
Take advantage of you being here. Ask that question.
We haven't written that up yet because we haven't filed with the car system yet.
Okay.
But we'll have to accumulate everything that has been reported from his reports, from other things that have been talked about in these meetings, and accumulate them all and put them in one place and file that.
So a quick question. Your fund balances are June 30th, of course. Is that on an accrued basis or is that a cash basis?
Modified.
Or modified accrual basis?
Somewhere in between.
So So
The fund statements are modified.
Are modified, so on that day.
Right,
So
where the governmentals are full accrual.
the governmentals are full accrual, but
Right.
the
Government-wide.
Government-wide.
are full accrual,
Right.
and these are,
Just everybody, we're doing a great job of having like regular person conversation with 5 people talking at once, and it's making for terrible video. We really need to have one person at a time talk.
okay, so the government-wide are full accrual, and the primary government are modified accrual. So the unassigned general fund balance, for example, as of June 30th was 59 million, and that's in a modified accrual reporting. Now that's much higher than we thought it would be, isn't it, Director?
Mid-year, we were thinking it would be less than that, yes.
It would be much
That's why
less
we
than
took
that.
the actions that we did mid-year.
Well, you mean for FY19 as of July the 1st?
I mean, last year for FY18, if you recall, mid-year, we implemented some hiring freezes and things of that nature, and
But if,
to generate some savings to mitigate some unexpected expenses.
okay, and you would have approximately $20 million worth of savings in just the month of June?
The strategy was announced like in January or something. I don't remember this. When we were having the discussion around hospital authority supplemental is when we were discussing that. I think that would have been, no, that probably was in January, December or January of last year.
But
Does that sound right? That was in December or January of last year, and then we implemented some things in January. So we had half of a year to kind of.
But early June, it seemed that the 5% fund was well below 5% at the time of the adoption of the 2019 budget.
Yeah, and things, well, the projection was, but revenues came in higher
Okay.
than we had anticipated, and the departments generated a whole lot more savings than what we anticipated.
Okay. On a modified accrual basis. Okay.
I think not to put words in your mouth, but I think what you probably are wondering about is if there's some way that even on a rough estimate basis, somebody could reconcile for you information that we're looking at budget time versus the final, even if an approximate.
Well, it does seem surprisingly high, given what we were prepared for in the first part of the month. And I guess part of that might be to address the modified accrual nature of this. Were we able to book savings in the 59 million because of the accrual part of this?
You have to realize in June, we've got still a couple of months of revenue that have not been even.
Well, now, are you recognizing revenue through August in the June number?
Yeah. I mean, because you're earning it. By the time we receive it in August, it's actually June collections that individuals have paid for sales tax. We get it in August, so there's essentially, at the beginning of June, you're still looking at 3 months of revenue, essentially, that you haven't booked yet. And then, honestly, we're going to stay pretty conservative if we're making projections. So, until we close the year, know how the departments are coming in, final, we're staying a little more conservative on our projections.
So this 59 million that's stated as of June 30th, how much of that was to be booked revenue, to be collected revenue that was July and August? How much of it was air, in effect?
It's more, I think, appropriate to think about it as variances from what they were built into the numbers we worked off for the budget process. I really think what you want to ask them is if there's a way to take the specific numbers we were looking at during the budget process and 4 or 5 buckets reconcile, how it went from, I don't remember what that number was, but, from that number to 59.
I don't think you ever
Yes, I do.
get
Thank you,
that.
Councilman.
This is just me talking because auditors, accountants, and budget people look at finances through very different lenses. Even the auditors don't always agree with the accountants on how things are presented. Is that a fair statement for those in the room? So you have to be really careful when you start trying to draw comparisons between audit numbers and budget numbers and what an accountant may have booked at the moment at that time. So there's not a one-to-one correlation.
I think it's just 3 different ways to look at it.
It really is.
It serves 3 different purposes.
Exactly, but there's never a one.
So it's hard to look at one and apply it to another when they're 2 different.
Right. There's not a clear, like,
Let me ask Councilman Cooper's question a different way. For the way we were looking at it in the council for budget purposes in May and June, how different did the final numbers end up being?
and we can give you that.
I think
If that's the only question, we can tell you what those were.
For further clarification, so everybody's on the same page, literally. I take it we're looking
That's
at
outside of this committee, I
the
think.
management discussion and is saying that we had a fund balance of 59 million. Where is that in the balance sheet?
B6.
B6.
No. Translator.
Chair, can I just jump in for a second while you're looking?
I just want to see the numbers so I can
Yeah.
follow along with everybody. So where is it on B6?
So the general fund unassigned balance.
58,879.
Okay, yes.
The one thing I was going to say is that the CAFR will be transmitted to the Metro Council, and in there you'll get a transmittal letter from the Finance Department which explains high level. It'll present the results, and we'll make sure that some of those differences are articulated in that transmittal letter. That's all I was going to
Okay.
say, so that you'll have that available to you.
And then another question on what you all are saying is 2 different mechanisms of looking at the budget numbers. So when in the budget you forecast in June of 2019 as part of the operating budget forecast, and that the unassigned general fund balance will be 4.5%. Which set of numbers are you using? You're not referring to audited?
No.
Okay, you're referring to yours, or you're separate.
We're referring to current year activity, revenues booked as of that time, expenditure patterns that departments have, and trying to project where those differences may be.
When Metro set up the policy in the late 80s for the 5% fund, which accounting were they relying on for their policy goal?
I was not around in the late
Okay.
80s when that policy was put in place.
Okay, but you can see, since there's clearly a material difference between the 2, and I mean, when you go to the rating agencies, do you use the audited numbers, or do you use your numbers?
We give them the past of what the final results were, plus a projected for looking forward. Because they dig through the CAFR significantly. The rating agencies do.
If I was going to, you guys can disagree with this if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that Talia's office's way of looking at it is the way the family would look at it at home, like how much cash in the bank, and like how long can I pay my bills, and these guys get at it, and who knows what mumbo jumbo they sprinkle on top.
Right, the GASB.
To make it somewhat.
The GASB word.
Modified accrual. Modified accrual.
I think, that's a different acronym for GASB.
GASB
But I
has
mean,
their rules.
that's the way, so I'm guessing rating agencies, they want another cash in the bank, and of course, they want to look at the CAFR too.
Right.
I think the most interesting thing for me is if end of the year final on the way the apples to apples to what we relied upon for budget purposes was different, how different, and what was the nature of the differences.
Yeah, and that'll be.
I just want to say one thing. Phil's the one that sprinkles the mumbo jumbo. We just make sure it's right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Any other questions of the
I've got a few.
General Auditor at this time? Understand, I take it we're having a
Exactly.
I've got a few just quick ones. I guess the decision was made not to include the MDHA pilots in the note.
I looked at their report, and I didn't really see where they had a lot of disclosure there, so I just made a note to address it for next year to make sure we move forward.
Thank you. And then I think I've asked this once or twice before, but I feel like this is the year to deal with it. The component unit audits are not all online, and so the public can't find them, and they're not included in what we do. What can we do to, I mean, we're the audit committee for Metro. What can we do to, even if they don't want to put the stuff online, to make it
Go
online?
to the controller's office, and they have them all there.
Airport Authority.
The public can't find that, so
Yeah, we need
that's
a point.
awesome,
We
but the
need a
public
point.
doesn't know where to
Maybe
look.
get Phil to put a point. We can put a pointer to the controller.
Are you talking from the Metro website, or are you talking from the comptroller's website?
I know they're on the comptroller's website,
Yes.
which is great, but the public goes to Metro's website to find it.
I mean, I know they're on your site. They're not as easy for me to find it when I come up to your site, to be honest, as it is.
We don't have all the component units on
No,
our site.
no, I'm talking about even your CAF.
You can't even find our CAF?
I mean, I know it's there. I know it's there, but it's not as if, I mean, because department-wise, sometimes it's not as intuitive.
Okay.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
good to know.
You know, and, but from our website, you hit Davidson County, you're going to find everything that gets submitted to Davidson County.
It would be nice to have a web page that had just the links to audits to component units, is all I'm hearing. You're asking. That's all.
Given the fact that the citizens of Davidson County don't distinguish between the component units,
Right.
That's always
like
nice.
as the audit committee of Metro, I would like us to
Got a link.
get the component units audits online.
We can maybe add that to your board site or the Office of Central Audit, so it points to the right
That would be
places to
Can I ask you a question?
build and where we should.
Can I ask you a question? I know that there at least one component unit here in Metro that does not post their audits to their own website. It would still be available on your website?
Which one's that?
I'm not going to say.
But there's more than one. It doesn't.
You're required to submit.
That's what I'm saying. So if we can't find it there, we can find it on your site.
Yeah.
We require, from several years, all the reports have to be electronic so that they're available. But we don't, we force people to have a website of their own to do. So that's each entity's choice.
Right, and each entity does not currently post like we do, so.
I got just one more transparency-related thing. John, I think I remember from last meeting, whatever you guys are going to write up for the fraud allegations gets submitted online directly to the state, and so that's another thing that's findable through the comptroller's website, but not Metro does it. So, like, I don't know how to, I mean, I'm sure I can just figure out how to find it, but I don't know how to find it. I've never read that in previous years, I don't think. I think that we should figure out how to get whatever fraud reporting they're doing directly to the state to get that available to the citizens of Davidson County more readily. So, you guys got ideas about how we could do that? Phil, Mark?
I mean, you submitted electronically to David. I think we could just get a copy of it and figure out where it's appropriate to post it. I mean,
We're in the process of doing a rework Metro-wide for the internet's website, so these are all factors that we can make it more dynamic, but we can do something in between.
As you guys know, there will be interest in what is said about this year's, and so if we can, even if it's a temporary fix, figure out how to get a link up on that in the next, soon. I think that would be a good idea.
Comptroller's going through a resurgence too with their website. So hoping it stays as intuitive as it is right now.
Thanks very much,
Any
everybody.
questions of the auditor? So you're not going to go over the statement of changes? There's a lot of interesting stuff on VA. Is it right?
Yeah, that's right.
We went over that 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's a good page. Anyway, thank you guys for that. That's some of that. What we think.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the next move would be to consider for acceptance of the annual financial report.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the annual financial report for June 30th, 2018?
I guess I would move to accept it as, there's no amendments coming with, it's just the hospital one that's going to get changed. All right, so move to accept.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Accept. Let's go. Next order of business.
I have one issued internal audit report was a follow-up report of the Human Relations Commission. It was recommended that we follow up their corrective action plan. That has been completed. All the corrective action was verified to be completed. One of the things, their credit cards were removed from them, so they have no credit card purchases. And they're going through the purchasing department for most of all their purchases, and they have updated their procedures and transition procedures with the board to ensure that if they got a new director, that they would have an acknowledgement of the financial policies of the Metropolitan government and go talk to someone to find out what they are before they started working toward their program goals. So unless you have any questions, I think it was pretty, that Mill and her staff have done a good job of implementing their corrective action plan. That's done. Then,
Next.
page 35, the next one is the proposed meeting schedule. We've been doing 6 meetings a year. I just drafted based on last year's pattern. And Tuesdays is what we've normally been meeting. This is your opportunity to say you want to reconsider that date, or we can just keep tentatively going with the same schedule. So you got any input on that? If not,
Works for me.
Yeah, we generally meet the Tuesday that
the second Tuesday non-council. Yeah, it used to be that the meetings were on the council night, and that was getting to be too.
The attendance was sketchy. Okay. That's, and we can obviously adjust that if we need to.
And administrative-wise, everything's here on the status of projects. Budget, we're still under budget. This week we've met our targeted savings goals of $40,000 through personnel open position that resigned earlier that I told you about. We replaced that position. A new principal internal auditor will be starting at the end of this month, again next year. So we're looking forward to getting more work done.
Great.
So that's all I have.
Okay. So we have an adjournment, motion to adjourn the public meeting.
So moved.
Second, any discussion? Okay. Public meeting closed. Adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.